Adopt Aschool is the Federation of Kenya Employers initiative in support of quality education for sustainable development in the private sector. The government of Kenya has committed itself to educating its citizenship through free primary and subsidized secondary education. In the realization that the right to education is one of the basic human rights stipulated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948. This was also done in making progress towards achieving the Millennium Development Goals (MDGs) and in realization of the Vision 2030, which aims to transform Kenya into a newly industrialized middle-income country, providing a high quality of life to all its citizens by the year 2030.
The Federation of Kenya Employers is affiliated to the ILO as the employer's representative on the governing body. It's very involved in the decisions of the ILO. It has contributed to policy making at international level for many years. Regarding child labor project, I'm very happy to say that the Federation of Kenya Employers was one of the first in Africa to be picked to implement the efforts to eliminate child labor in its worst forms in our region. That started in Cairo in the 80s when we went to Cairo to look at what could possibly be done by Africa. Over the years, we have worked a lot in the agricultural sector and in areas where the worst forms of child labor are to work with employers and ensure that they contribute to the elimination of the same. We have invested in mobilization of the communities to raise the awareness on what child labor is, because in Africa, child work is normal and most parents or guardians do not think that there's any harm. So we needed to identify for them what constitutes child labor and what is harmful to the welfare of the child without removing the aspect of work by children. Because if it's done in a family setting under the guidance of a guardian and the child is still able to go to school, then we do not have a problem with that. We have been able to sensitize the communities around, especially where we have members who have a large population of people, to ensure that children do go to school.
The Ministry of Labour is one responsible for coordination of child labour activities within the country. We are also responsible for approving national action programs, which the other implementing agencies or development partners are undertaking. So we submit those programs to the National Steering Committee, which are approved for implementation. One of the main activities which we have been undertaking is the development of a child labour policy. One of the activities is that we brought on board other development partners who have been assisting us in development of the policy, and we developed the policy up and which was validated. So the policy is been submitted to cabinet. We are waiting for cabinet decision.
The inception of free primary education has faced certain challenges that include high pupil to teacher ratio, inadequate learning materials, overstretched infrastructures and nutrition, among others. This is where Federation of Kenya Employers is coming in through its membership and other stakeholders' participation.
Recently, we've introduced what we call Adopt Aschool program, which is aimed at mobilizing employers and the corporate world to see their efforts in child labor as their corporate social responsibility. And I'm very happy to say that many corporates are willing to work with us in this. Already we have 4 corporates in 4 regions in this country who have started programs either aimed at providing school feeding programs, upgrading the quality of classrooms, starting income generating projects for the schools within their communities so that parents can have money to buy uniforms, to pay fees and to feed their children. So employers see the contribution in the work of child labor and eliminating it as our contribution to preparing future generations for the world of work and ensuring that our children are able to go to school whilst also developing holistically and learning the value of work.
FKE has really done a lot. They were among those who initiated the program. They came with the idea and we owned the idea. And since we started the program, the feeding program, most children have come to school. The retention rate has also gone up. The rate of dropout has also gone down. The school enrollment has gone up. By the time they came 2010, we had an enrollment of 327. Currently, this year we have 400 pupils from standard 1 to standard 8. So the most children who are most vulnerable, who used to go for this commercial farming, looking after heads of animals, have all come to school, and they are doing very well. Last year we had a boy who had 351, and although he had problems at home, we even supported the boy, and the boy managed to complete class 8, and now he's in a Sunday school. The school feeding program has been a long project with the school committee, the former school committee, since the school was started. As you can see there, that is the founder, ECD school, and there is a kitchen behind it. So they have been trying to start the feeding program, but it all failed. But when the FKE joined in now, we found it was the right time. They supported us with the farm inputs, and we started. You can see this is the farm now. From there we started, and we took about 30 bags of maize to support the feeding program. So parents have owned the idea, and the entire community are very positive about the program, and it has even resulted in parents having time to do other activities instead of cooking lunch for their children. Now they have dedicated all that work with the school. Now it's upon the school to continue to feed the children during the lunch hour.
As the FKE came in, they really advised us what it means to be or to fight child labor, and they had some seminars with us whereby they trained the SMC. By then they also trained the children, some of whom are victims of the circumstance, whom as we have been really try to encourage that let them try to talk to their counterparts and advise them the badness of child labor. Actually, it is not an easy thing to do away with because of the buffet in the area. But somehow we are trying, and I want to believe as by now, actually most of them have come up and have joined school. Because by the year 2008, when the program started, even the enrollment of the school was low, whereby we had about 350 pupils. But because of the sensitization that has been going on through the pupils and through us as teachers, and the SMC and the parents as a whole, because that's something that we normally continue telling the parents. Every time that we meet with parents, we tell them, try to avoid child labor. Don't deny a child his or her education. A child has a right to education, and make sure that every child gets education. So we tell them, and at times when they happen to be hardy, we try and tell them, if we find you that you are disturbing this child from coming to school, you have put the child on labor, we shall have to report you to the administration, and then necessary action can be taken. And in fact, we are trying to encourage them, and I want to believe that most of them are ceasing from that, because even the enrollment in the school now has gone up to 433.
My role as an administrator in the fight against child labor is one, I know that through the Constitution, the child rights are of prime prominence, and they have been elicited well in the new Constitution dispensation. And I know that with a lot of partnership and implementation of the Constitution to the letter and spirit of it, we will be able to fight child labor. One of the activities is that we do a lot of sensitization through public barazas, where we tell our people, parents of these children, who are of the age of going to school, the effects of their children engaging in child labor. We can also go a milestone if there are not notorious cases, arrests, or summon the said parents and the victims to appear before the office to answer as to why they cannot take their children to school. They are allowing their children to attend this dangerous and hazardous work. And also, we can also summon and even arrest the children who are not going to school and ask them to show cause as to why they cannot attend lessons in school. When it comes to summoning or arresting a child who is undergoing child labor, one, it can instill fear in the child that I have gone against the constitution, against the law of the land, and because of that reason, the child will make a decision of not being taken to the jails, but instead go to a safer haven, which is school.
Coming together of Kenya Federation of Employers to Ogenya Girls has helped us to educate the girls that one, education is important, two, they have a right to education and they should not get into cheap labor. You know how the young ones, people get them because it's cheap labor, like selling in the market, working for people's farms. Like this area, I would say that majority of the people lives below poverty line. So you find it a big challenge. And as a result, with their coming in, there are girls that you have been able to retain in school with their parents not paying so much.
Adopt a School program has enabled many children go back to school, and at the same time, the program has given support to parents through socio-economic activities.
Adopt a School program is a program that we started to ensure that the employers, as members of the community where they are engaged as established as firms, also participate in development of the schools. So Adopt a School here, the big farms like Safaricom or a small farm as FKE or so gets involved in the development of facility of that school and really help them by developing their strategic plan, supporting them facilities, ensuring that the children are in school. To that, the employers have been involved mainly in providing buildings, buying books, and putting up those infrastructural facilities in the schools.
When we started working with FKE, we had to start a new farm across the gate of the school, and we plowed the farm and we planted beans, and the parents gave us maize, so we were able to start the feeding program. The following year again, FKE gave us money and we planted onions, and those onions we were able to sell them and get money to supplement the feeding program. In the school garden that you can see, we have vegetables. We have things like carrots, onions. We don't buy them. That one is used for feeding program, and we've been selling some of it. And when we sell some of it, we're able to buy what the parents cannot offer. Things like cooking fat, things like salt, we need to buy. So when we sell the surplus, we are able to buy what we don't have. We also have the milk. We do dairy farming, and we have milk. This milk is used, we make tea for the children for breakfast, and also we have children who have various problems, health problems. There are some who have ulcers and they need to be given milk to drink. So we give some of those children milk, and then we have the small ones. We have children in the special needs. Some of them are very, very small, and sometimes they need milk, and so we give them milk. We also have rabbits that we keep in the school. Occasionally we slaughter 3 or 4, but it also becomes something like an hobby or a practice that the small boys enjoy in the school. They like feeding the rabbits. So apart from giving them meat, they also enjoy feeding the rabbits after classes. We have captured the children in school or retained them to be in school through the various programs that we are doing. One is through feeding program. You know, the moment you feed a child, that child would want to come back to school the next day. But children do not learn in empty stomachs. But when they know that there is food, they want to come to school today, tomorrow, and the next day. So through feeding program, we retain the children in school. Also, FK has given the children uniform. The children from the most vulnerable families or needy families, they were given uniform, 60 of them. And through that, we feel the project and the school has been able to retain the children because, a child who doesn't have uniform. Take an example of a case where a teacher is teaching in class and then the child is expected to go and demonstrate something on the blackboard. And maybe this child has a torn dress at the back or a torn shirt. And when that child is told to wake up and demonstrate something on the blackboard, it will be very embarrassing to the child. So when a child has uniform, he has food, that child feels comfortable in school and he will always be in school throughout. We've had to go around to villages to bring the children who are not in school. And even when a child becomes absent for 1 or 2 days, I've instructed my teachers to go to the home and find out why that child is not in school. So we find most parents fear. When a child is absent, they'll call the teacher or they'll come here to ask for permission because they know the next minute the teacher will be there. And so they do not want that because I think we've told them we'll take action. And since that, we've not had many children becoming absent unless when there is a very serious reason.
Adopt a School project is an initiative by Federation of Kenya Employers. The concept mainly came out from the TACO program, Tackling Child Labor Through Education. There's the aspect of education. And so we said, okay, why can't we be creative and we come up with a project within this particular initiative? And then we said, Adopt a School would work. We thought about it, then we conceptualized the idea, we came up with Adopt a School. And this framework, particularly, we tell members who are private sector, who are business people, big companies, small companies, we tell them, amidst your either corporate social responsibility money or money that you'd want to serve the community, why don't you go ahead, look into a project which is more sustainable, a project which at some stage you'll look back and see the impact it had, and invest in this particular project. And we thought Adopt a School would be great because schools are there forever, our members are there forever. We want actually them to contribute to positive growth. One, if children do well in school, we expect at some stage we have enough workforce. Our members would want a skilled workforce. Yeah, and then number two, we are giving an opportunity. We are actually contributing towards the positive growth of our community. And so then we came up with this concept, and like I had mentioned before, through money which were given by ILO, the European Union funding, we did a baseline survey all over the country through the Ministry of Education. So we worked closely with the government, and we identified several schools, their areas of need. And particularly, we would approach members who are near those particular schools. And we tell them, there's a school here. Would you mind supporting this school? Adopt a School. Of late, I can give an example of AIG Insurance Company who adopted a school in Machakos County. The school is called Miwani Secondary School. And this particular secondary school was begun from a primary school. It's because the community wanted to maximize the opportunity of these children who are completing primary school to go to secondary school. But within the radius of probably around 20 kilometers, there is no secondary school. So then that denies children who have done well in primary school to proceed with their secondary education. So AIG constructed 2 classrooms for this particular school, furnished the classrooms, and we gave an opportunity to secondary school students who are sharing classrooms with primary school to have their own classrooms. Fair enough that we are even encouraged more. The AIG Insurance Company has decided to do more classrooms, do more administration block. And I remember, if I can quote the CEO, he said that he will adopt that school and make it a center of excellence in Machakos County. So that is what we describe as Adopt a School. You take a school, you address the particular needs. If you want to be there, you'll be there for quite a long time. One, it's giving back to the community. It's contributing to education growth in that particular community. And number 3, it's giving our members a name because we are actually advertising the membership.
The Federation of Kenya Employers is currently implementing a program in collaboration with the International Labour Organization ILO on tackling child labour through education, where adopting a school is one of the Federation's innovative strategies.
This project is in support of the government's National Action Plan on the elimination of child labour, which has been prepared by the government of Kenya through the Ministry of Labour. This project has been under implementation since the year 2010. We have worked through a strategy called the Integrated Area-Based Approach, whereby we work in particular selected areas to ensure that in those particular areas all forms of child labour are tackled, that the underlying factors that contribute to child labour are dealt with, and that partnerships are built so that it's not just the project working in this area, but other partners, both from NGO sector, the government, and parents and volunteers are all working in this area. So far, we have managed to deal with the children who have been found with either in child labour or at risk, and the project has targeted over 8,000 children in these areas. Some of those children have been targeted for prevention, others for withdrawal, and others for protection, those who are 16 to 17 years. We have also worked with children in the creation of child light clubs, where we are implementing child participation programs through the use of SCREAM, a tool developed by ILO on child participation. We have also worked very closely with parents who have been identified as being unable to support their children fully to be in school. We have provided education materials, school fees, in some cases school levies, examination fee. We have also provided uniforms. We have provided sanitary towels in case of girls. And on a needs basis, we have been able to provide the items identified for each child. And many of the children are back to school, some in primary schools, others are in secondary schools, and others are in skills training. We are working very closely with the Federation of Kenya Employers to also train young people and business owners on safe work procedures, so that hazardous conditions are removed from the workplace, where these young people are either working or they are being trained. And this is also with the institutions such as youth polytechnics, so that we ensure that those who are involved in any form of work are doing so in non-hazardous conditions.
The Adopt a School initiative is still under progress and is targeting the elimination of child labour through education within the auspice of corporate social responsibility.
If you allow children to be in labour, then you'll be denying them an opportunity to go to school, and at the end of the day, then we'll be producing citizens who are not productive in this country. So we actually need children to be in school, to get education and get other skills. If they're not in the formal education, then they can even join the informal training, whereby we'll have people who are skilled. So actually, that's basically where we are fighting child labour, is that it is part of national development agenda. Actually, as an employers organization, what we basically do is that we sensitize employers not to employ children. And what you are actually doing now is that we're also trying to get out to the surrounding communities, under the what you're calling corporate social responsibility, that you're asking our members to now focus also to the surrounding community. But initially, we started with the formal setup, and we have seen a lot of success stories within the formal setup, that the employers have now put in place policies against employing children. We have very clear laws in this country. We look at the Employment Act, which actually the employers took a key role in enacting that law. And we also have what you're calling collective bargaining agreements, whereby the employers together with the trade unions have a joint agreement that will be able to eliminate child labor at the workplace. So those are some of the initiatives that are doing, and also in terms of asking employers to support schools within their premises and outside their premises, so that the child actually is given an opportunity to go to school.
The Adopt Aschool initiative called upon corporate to support schools with infrastructure development, school feeding programs, income-generating activities, bursary schemes and uniforms.
Obviously, after talking to several people and talking to FKE, decided on Adopt Aschool project. The concept was sold to us by the team, and we approved it. And after searching for a school to adopt, given several options, our CSR team decided on Miwani School in Machakos. And we went and looked at it, and we realized that the school needed help. So we were glad to identify with the school. Through collaboration with FKE, we therefore decided to help the school by putting up classrooms, because when we went, there were hardly any classrooms when we saw the school, and it was apparent that most children were actually learning under the trees. And as you know, Machakos is not a very cool place, it's a very hot place, and so most part of the year, these children were actually learning in the open sun. So we decided to phase the project out, given that we had also other CSR projects that we wanted to fund. And we adopted Miwani School, and we were able to do the first 3 classrooms, and then furnish them with desks. So that was really phase 1 of our CSR with the Adopt School project.
Chatis Insurance has supported Miwani Second School in Machakos County in constructing 2 fully furnished classrooms at a cost of 1.5 million shillings.
This school here was actually needy at that time, because this building was not there. It was only those 2 down there. And with the coming up of this building here and the opening it, I think even the community here, I wish they were here, right? Some of them might not like their children now to go to other schools like Kamweleni and these others here and there. I mean that it has brought the parents, or it has brought the parents back to the school. And that one can be manifested by the increased enrollment we are now seeing. And one good thing also with this principal here, she's a go-getter. She does not only sit here and wait for things to happen. She teams up with other principals in so many ways. And sometimes some even assist her in one way or another. And I know that maybe the first KCSE, right? The one they are going to do, right? It might not be the best, but I believe they will start well. And if they continue this kind of effort we are seeing, I'm seeing Miwani in 2 or 3 or 4 years from now. And with the added facilities in case they will be there, I think this one school which is going to compete very well with schools in Machakos district and most of their category of the day secondary schools. We only want to give them all the support that we can, both morally, financially, materially. As an office, we are also committed to do that. Where we can, we shall help them. And we believe if you come back here in some years to come, I think you will see a school with a difference.
Members of the Federation of Kenya Employers and the business sector can support the following in collaboration with the school management. support infrastructural development within the chosen schools through activities that enhance quality learning, support deserving, needy children, especially orphaned and vulnerable children, to meet basic school requirements like uniforms and other learning materials, establish school bursaries to support students from disadvantaged families, support and help the chosen schools manage a feeding program.